Okay, first we'll start off this show with some news. So first up is Stranger has decided to retire as a host for this podcast. We might eventually be able to get him on again in the future. I have no idea, but for the moment we're down a third permanent host until we can find a new one. So until then, we'll be having guest hosts on until we can find someone to fill his spot. And let's see, in the second news I have before we start, we will be dividing up the podcast into two separate videos from now on. So, the first one, which will be this one, will be entirely dedicated to the simulcasts, which should make it more shorter than before. So, if you're just coming here to see what our thoughts on some simulcasts are, you don't have to slog through as long of a video. And if you just want to hear our normal discussions, that'll be a much shorter video than our simulcast ones, probably. So you can just, we'll post a link somewhere and you can just go on to that. But I think that's all the news I have before we start, so let's get started. Hello, and welcome to the Simulcast part of the Anime and Simulcast podcast, Divergence Cast. So, as always, I am one of your hosts, JJ. I'm joined by my fellow co-host, Alex.
Yo.
And today, we are joined by our special guest, my friend, Justin.
Hello.
And this will be and we will be discussing simulcasts in this part of the episode, so if you're looking for our general anime or anime news and animated news discussion part, we will put a link to the second half in the description and most likely in the video itself. And as always, we will have annotations in the video description as well, should you decide to choose to jump between different series we talk about, because of course we're going to spoil some stuff, but since we are discussing them. But if you'd prefer not to, or if you just came here to say, here are our discussion on Food Wars or something, you can just go straight to that. So with that out of the way, let's get started with our first simulcast to discuss. And since we've been away for like 6 weeks or so since the last episode, we'll probably be do a lot of catching up. So first up, Shimoneta. So they made Anna really creepy.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting her to take the direction she took. It got a little weird.
It got a little weird about sums up Shimoneta. Oh, love nectar. She baked those cookies with love.
Yeah, too much love in my opinion. The bottle, I gagged, and she held the bottle. I'm like, I'm out. You can't do this to a guy like that. It's not fair.
No. No, that's not saliva. This isn't Mysterious Girlfriend X. That's not saliva. That is what it looks like. But yeah, just the last couple of episodes have been pretty. They just turned it up to 11 on the weirdness.
Yeah, I used to think the show was on rails, and then it promptly went off them, and I don't see it returning anytime soon.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like, especially with what was episode 3? Was it or episode 4?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was 3.
3 was when she jumped him, and there was full-on genital contact.
It was pretty much like you gets to the end there. I'd actually went in with some knowledge that Anna just becomes like this
Yeah, I mean,
completely like perverted,
well,
or
you
like she
kind of,
doesn't look at it. She doesn't look at it that way, of course. But
yeah,
I went in with some knowledge, but no idea how it
yeah,
unfolded. And I was just like, at the end of that episode 3, I was just in shock like the entire last like 5 minutes.
yeah. It's like,
And I didn't like there's like I was just watching, and I couldn't say anything. I was just the mouth pretty much agape, and
Well, you're
it's like,
awestruck. Like, there's no words for that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it compelled me to post on Twitter is how shocked I was.
yeah, and
and, oh
like
god,
in the very beginning, you sort of has some idea that she might, because you always might be do something perverted or something, because she's sort of silhouetted in the background for the first couple of episodes. I mean, after episode 3, she's no longer silhouetted, but you're always like, what are they going to do about that? And then episode 3 comes out, and it's like, just straight up hits you out of nowhere with it.
and it's funny because after that shock, I was just like, after the credits, I was like, how do you take that part of the episode, and then just like I wasn't sure. I was like, man, this got fucked up. And then it just cues to her walking home. She's dripping and all that. I'm like, oh my god! And I was just like laughing my ass off at it because it goes from one of the most like shocking parts so far, one of the like most messed up parts that it's had in the show, like pretty much like bar none the most probably. And then I'm just like laughing my ass off at this other part. And that's the thing. It's struck a balance for me at least between just like pushing the limit, but also getting you to laugh. And it's it sort of expanded upon in episode 4, the love nectar cookies and giving him a bottle of it, and it's like I had a lot of shock at that part, and it's like, oh man. And then it comes back, like I said, and it does exactly what episode 3 did. It comes back with a part that just sort of made me just crack up with the whole rainbow part at the end.
Yeah. It's like, is the rainbow really necessary? Yes. Yes, it is. You need to know these things.
Yes.
But I think it toes the line there because it's like, oh, it's so adorable. She's so innocent. But at the same time, she's so creepy with it that you can't help but be on his side about it. Where he's like, I don't need this. Please stop.
That's the thing.
Like,
I think the whole thing they're going for her is like, she's so innocent that she doesn't actually know the terrible shit she's doing is wrong.
Yeah,
and that's what it's supposed to illustrate. It's an exaggeration of what can happen in like a censored society, like in that, like how the show, what the show depicts essentially.
Yeah.
And I was gonna mention something else. Yeah, that's the thing. Anna is like, even though she's like technically like just like really innocent, she's legitimately like the most hilariously terrifying character of this season. Because it's just like, her actions so far, it's like she's fucking nuts.
I thought she was honestly going to cut Kaja with the scissors. I was like, okay, let's not go there, please. And it didn't, thankfully.
Yeah.
But it's definitely out there for me.
Yes. It's definitely out there. And oh god, that one cave in episode 4, I think, or was it 5?
Yes.
That cave.
Yes, the cave. I was watching it with a buddy because he just comes over and watches it with me now. And I'd already seen the episode, and as soon as it came up, he's like, really now? Really? And he looked at me, and I'm like, don't look at me. They're the ones that make this crap. Like, it's not me.
It's just... And last episode, I'm not sure if you watched it, Alex, or not, but... Basically, the entire episode was showing people how to make a homemade sex toy.
Yeah, I got that from your pictures.
It's like
something about the instructions at the end how to make homemade lube.
Well, it wasn't. It was actually.
It wasn't the lube. It was the sex aid.
Yeah, it was the sex toy.
They were like, "Here you go."
And insert to fit your size.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I went into this season thinking prison school will probably people will regard that as the weirdest show, and then Shimoneta is pretty much essentially giving it a run for its money. Like, in defense of prison school, you have a lot of objectionable things coming in the future, but like for now, the Shimoneta just, I think, blew so much out of the water. So I remember reading the reactions on Twitter, and people were just like so shocked about episode 3.
Yeah, it's just comes at you out of nowhere with it. But let's see. Anything else about Shimoneta?
I can't wait for more.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they finally showed the purple-haired chick at the end of the episode, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, she's at the end.
So yeah, I guess we'll see what's up with her later on. I can't remember what the name of the next episode was going to be. I don't remember the preview for some reason. But yeah, it's just absurd and just a fun, very dirty humor. Like it's definitely not a show you'd show to younger people.
No, I would not recommend showing it to younger people. The next episode is What Socks Created.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Let's see what Socks created. Let's see what sex happens most often on Xmas created.
Just a...
Yeah. Well, I guess if we've got nothing else to say about Shimoneta, guess we'll move on to prison school. So you guys can talk about that.
Oh, we all know how I feel about prison school, so I'll let Justin take the floor and what he thinks of it so far.
All right. About 10 minutes into episode 1, I wondered what I was doing with my life.
That was around.
And then at the end of episode 3, I'm like, I can't stop. So I give it a tentative yes because I just didn't drop it. I kept watching it anyways. The facial expressions and the jokes that they make with them really gets me laughing like so hard. I have to pause it. I don't know where it's going because I haven't read anything about it. I've only seen the first like 3 or 4 episodes. But I am interested, so that I can say that about it. Let me just look something up here. I guess the camaraderie between the characters is a little out of whack. Sometimes they care, sometimes they don't, then they hate each other, and I'm trying to sort it out still.
It's whenever you get to episode 5, it's there's more of that to come, I guess, because there's something that they go through with the everything that happens with the. I'm not sure if you've seen the escape yet. Have you watched episode 4?
No, I watched 3.
Well, everything gets set in motion over the next couple episodes, and it creates a bit of a conflict when it gets down to it. So you'll get, I guess, more of an impression between that. That is, I don't really know what to say about that. That's the thing. I would say it is like a little bit sporadic because that's the thing. Especially with Andre and Joe, they don't really have much of a part just yet. It's really to start out with Kiyoshi, Gakuto, and Shingo every now and then, as you'll see in the next coming episodes. But what were you gonna say?
I feel like it's playing with me, the show itself. It's like sometimes it's like, yeah, you like this, don't you? And I'm like, I don't know if I do, but it plays it so hard sometimes that I'm like, there's no way that I'm into this. Like it's like lick my boot, and I'm like, yeah, lick the boot. And it's like, wait a minute, no. It's like, no, you don't want that. So it's interesting. It's on the same level as Shimoneta. It's a little more shocking to me. But I want to see where it goes.
Trust me, it gets pretty. It gets pretty. It's not so much heavy, but it gets pretty crazy.
All right, well, it's on my to-do list for tonight then.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? Because like I said, it's really all dependent on whether it gets a second season. You got stuff that all 12 episodes is the pace they're going with the show. We'll cover the first arc that they're in because right now there's only been 2 arcs. The first arc in the manga there's about like 100. I think there's 185 chapters so far. The first arc I would say is anywhere between 80 and 90 chapters, and with the pace they're going with the show, they're probably gonna be able to conclude the first arc. There's some stuff, especially has to do with Hana as well.
Yep.
So you got overall just some wacky shit coming, and it's the second season. I'm hoping it gets a second season. It has some, especially the most recent part of the current arc, has a lot of. People are gonna be like so weird. It's like people are gonna be like weirded out, but like gonna want to keep on watching it, and especially because there's a number of parts in this arc, in the second arc so far. It's like, man, but I can't pull myself away from it. I do legitimately think personally, it's one of the funniest things I've read. I speak by the show pretty much.
Sweet.
At least as you know. What are you gonna say?
Nothing. We're good.
Okay. Anything else about Prison School?
No, I got nothing. I mean, actually, before I move on, what do you think of Andre? His overall like facial structure.
I don't get it.
It's. I'm telling you, it's still a mystery.
Oh, that's still a mystery. I was hoping they'd contextualize it somehow.
It's like there's been like no explanation why he has like his face is so small, his head is so big, and why his ears are so long. It's just like, this is supposed to be a normal person in this and I'm guessing he's supposed to be looked at as a normal person, but he looks so like fucking strange, and is yet to be explained.
Well, I'm waiting for it then.
All right. I guess if you got nothing else to talk about Prison School, we shall move on to Food Wars. So, lots been happening since we last talked about Food Wars. I think they just finished up the what was it? What was the name of that chicken food? Was it? I'm blanking on the name.
I can't remember either, but all I know is that actually watching yesterday, I actually started a diet back on Monday, and restricting a lot of food. And watching Food Wars yesterday just made me wish I wasn't on it, because that stuff looked really good. I can't remember the name of it, but it's pretty much them.
Yeah,
it just made me hungry watching that.
Yeah, after that I wanted to go eat somewhere, so I went to a local Asian restaurant, and ordered Japanese crispy chicken, which was not remotely the same thing. And I probably won't order again because it wasn't.
It's called karage, I think.
Karage, yeah. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get as good of food, and I was kind of being cheap as well. But yeah, the food looked really good in those episodes, just like it usually is in Food Wars.
Well, even though like
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it had more of like a mini arc feel, obviously, because it's moving on to the next like bigger arc, the fall elections.
Yeah.
But it's pretty entertaining, especially his childhood friend and what's her name, Nikumi.
Yeah, Nikumi.
And just sort of seeing like them, like they don't know how to like go about how they feel at all. And it's Soma just aloof of everything. He doesn't really give a shit about anything besides like cooking and all that.
Yeah.
And I also found the restaurant owner.
Yeah,
just the way she was hilarious, because it's just like she's like this like yakuza kind of person.
Yankee, and just she's taking no shit, and it's just kind of thuggish.
Mm.
But yeah, I can't really think about much else to say about the recent arc. It was fun, and it's, like always, it's enjoyable. I will say that since the new season start, I've actually started to really like the closing, even though I really like the first closing. like the song.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I don't know why, but I just really love the song in the closing.
It was honestly meant to drive home the point of the fall elections, and especially with the way yesterday's episode ended, it's getting me hyped.
Yeah.
What's to come, because it's like, this is essentially all set up because that guy, the number 9 on the what are they called? Well, the Elite 10, the Elite 10, I think it is. They just set it up. It's obviously going to be whatever the hell the fall elections is between those two.
Yeah. Let's see. Have you been keeping up with it, Justin?
No, I kind of just let it fall off for me, but I do have plans to go back and catch up probably this weekend.
Okay. But yeah, I can't think about what else to say about Food Wars.
I got nothing.
Alright. Well, I guess if we don't really have much else to say about it, I guess you guys can talk about Charlotte.
All right. I watched the first episode. I watched the pilot. The idea of imperfect superpowers is really, really interesting to me. And I'd like to see more. So I haven't watched more than the first episode. I have a lot on my plate lately, so I could only watch the first one. But I'm super down. I thought the main character was a scumbag. I still think he's a scumbag. But he gets his so fast that I'm like, okay, we're good. The way that they trick him into revealing his power and the way he acts afterwards really gets me.
All right. Like, that's the thing. I actually liked that the guy was a complete asshole to start out. And pretty much like you said, he still is in a way. Because it's sort of different from, your typical nice guy protagonist. This guy's pretty much, it's like he's, doesn't he doesn't skirt around admitting that he looks out for him and only him, essentially. And like I said, yeah, from the first, I've only watched the first, I think, 4 or 5 episodes. I had to watch today's episodes. It probably is like one of my favorite, but I still need to see more to really say that it's my favorite show. Because I'm not really keen, especially after some of the shows this year that have come out, such as Rolling Girls and especially Plastic Memories in the spring. It's like I really want to see the meat of a show first before I go and call it anime of the season, anime of the year. Because because there's something I was talking to JJ about, I think while you were finishing up Shimoneta, is that there's a theory and something me and my brother were talking about in regards to Charlotte. Something happens with a certain character, and people have theorized has to do with something that she uses. And so, if it winds up being that, I'll just think it's probably one of the most dumbest twists. Like I said, I'm hoping that's not what it turns out to be. Very well could be what it winds up turning out to be. But so far, I'd probably say it's one of my favorite shows of the summer.
Awesome.
Anything else about Charlotte?
I can't think of
Nope.
anything.
All right. Okay, I guess moving on. Gate. We'll talk about Gate. So, let's see. So far I've really been liking how they sort of do the interaction between the fantasy and military side, but I'm kind of not as big on it as some people have been the last 2 episodes, because I don't know, I've been seeing a lot of hokey bits in it that just sort of, bother me a bit. I've seen a lot of people who have it's one of their favorite shows this season, but to me it's I enjoy it, but I don't know. It could also be that I'm just sort of staying back.
Yeah, I would say the last 2 episodes sort of felt like they were stalling a bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's probably not the case, right? It's an adaptation of a manga.
Yeah, and I think
I think what people really like about the show. I'm sorry if I interrupted you. What you were going to say, but
No, go ahead.
what people really like about the show is how different of a take it is on the whole, you know, Japanese person winds up in some fantasy land because it actually has Japanese soldiers and they're trying to essentially they start out with trying to prevent people from getting into the gate, and now they're pretty much scouting out parts of the world.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people like about it. It's a different take. It actually has an older main character for once instead of teenager.
Yeah, 30-year-old.
It's done like I said. Even despite its flaws, it's done a number of things that managed. Even though it's a familiar premise, it separates it from the rest of the pack essentially, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, which I can understand, but I don't know. It's just every time I see it do something like just not really. It just feels sort of hokey with that main premise it's got going for it. It's just sort of bothers me more than normal. Like
I think the one.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
First. The one thing that sort of the one thing that threw me off a little was Pina's name, Pina Colada.
Pina Colada.
Because I wonder if there's more of that to come.
Is that a name?
That's the name. That's the name of the red-haired chick.
Oh no!
Yes, it's the jacuzzi spot of the season.
Okay. I'm enjoying it so far. I basically had it on my checklist since you guys told me to watch it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go home and check this out. And I watched the first episode, and then I went to bed at like 1 a.m. after watching the fourth episode because I got home late. So I'm really liking it. I don't really have a big back catalog of stuff I've watched before to compare it to, so I'm really liking the premise.
Yeah, the only other show I could really compare it to is it feels like an alternate universe version of Outbreak Company, where instead of the U.S. military going in first and basically negotiating with them and basically making a peace treaty before any war breaks out, it's like the other way happens, and the fantasy side invades and throws the first blow, and then the military side goes in there. Well, to be fair, the actual military is a small part in Outbreak Company, so it's not the perfect comparison.
Yeah, the one thing that's bothering me about it so far, and I'm sure they've brought it up in the 2 episodes that I haven't watched, is I don't know, did they build the gate, or what was their purpose of going through the gate? Did they mention that?
I don't think they've really mentioned... they briefly mentioned that it's like a holy site or something, and basically the Empire was basically deciding to invade that area to claim the land or something, because they assumed on the other side of the gate it was just another... More of what they have in level of technology and stuff, and only to basically get massacred and all that. But
okay.
Yeah,
well,
they haven't
for
really,
being the titular item, it's kind of taken a backseat to everything else.
Yeah, well, to be fair, it's a 2-core series actually. So
is it?
Yeah, it's a 2-core.
I don't know that.
Yeah, I think Gate and Ushio and Tora are both confirmed to be 2-core series. But yeah, I don't think they've really done much explaining on that yet, though they probably will sometime eventually. The thing is, I don't know, it's just the different characters, like the one size chick Rory and the elf and the wither chick. I just they just feel like they're there to be the waifu character, sort of. Just that just tends to bother me. And in the last episode, the one military chick just randomly charges into the fray instead of staying back with her team, which
that part was a little bit weird because it's like there's nothing to establish her as some gung ho character.
Just felt weird and sort of breaking the whole immersion of the Japanese military structure and stuff. But and of course the aircraft pilots play Ride of the Valkyries. But yeah, it's just little things like that sort of, I don't know, it sort of reducing my opinion of the show, though it could also be that I'm definitely putting it under the spotlight a lot more compared to other shows, since it's an A1 Pictures series, and I didn't really have much experience with the light novel before, or I don't really know how it'll turn out. So in those cases, usually, because of my opinion of A1 Pictures, tends to be a bit mixed at times. So it's gonna I'm probably harder on it than other shows, I think. So there is also that.
Cool. I will sort of agree that it feels like the plot, like the actual plot, like why all this is happening is sort of taking a backseat to me, at least.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really establish, like why so far. It's just sort of Japanese military in a fantasy land.
Yeah. Yeah, it hasn't really developed anything in that way, anything in a storyline way. It's just taking that concept and focusing on that concept instead of, actually expanding the story so far. Which it might start doing that in the next couple of episodes, or it might wind up just do more of that kind of expansion. Yeah. But anyways, anything else about Gate?
No, nothing I can think of.
No? Alright, we'll move on from Gate to, Himouto Umaru-chan.
The Adorbs is killing me.
The Adorbs is definitely murder. What is up with those cat things? Those giant cat pillow things.
I think they're hilarious.
There is
especially with the expression that they always have on their face. And I was gonna say one competitor in the Street Fighter tournament.
Oh yeah, I forgot her name.
I think it's actually supposed.
Was it?
There's supposed to be the one guy that comes out that had like the giant cat head on, like the tall cat head on. Is apparently supposed to be a reference to the author.
Yeah,
of the manga.
I imagine it would be, because some manga authors can have like a mascot stand-in for themselves, like when they're doing the back comment jokes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that could very well be the author's stand-in. Which puts the full body pillows into perspective. But yeah, that's just everything about this show is so freaking cute. It's like when they're playing tennis, and it's like they don't really know the rules, but they're trying something. In that was that. And the weirdest thing I think I've found so far is definitely the schedule, the release schedule for this series. Like, actually, this week they released 2 episodes, one on Sunday and one on Wednesday, which was rather weird. I have no idea what was up with that.
I can't figure it out because the one day, and that's the thing. Weird to me not even more. I expected it like. I'll use Rin-ne as an example. That'll come on Sunday every now and then, but that's fan sub that comes out on Sunday. You don't get the official one that comes out until Wednesday typically. And that's what I was actually expecting with the Umaru, because it seemed like you had told me that the Sunday was the official date that it gets released, but then on Wednesday they actually got a Crunchyroll release. So
I think it was the other way around.
Well, I don't know, because like I said, from the beginning, I remember checking the information on it on an Annie chart, and I remember before the first episode came on, it said debuts in like 24 hours. This was a Tuesday that I checked it out, so I think it actually does come out Wednesday.
Probably. So maybe they're just now sort of catching up with it, and they're finally going to be posting it on Wednesday on Crunchyroll. That would make sense.
What do you guys think of some of the characters so far?
Let's see. The chick who's really likes Umaru-chan, but kind of always looks scary. I like her. Yeah, Kiri. I like her thing, especially how, like, she thinks Umaru at home is like Umaru's little sister.
Hmm.
And then the way Umaru treats her, it's like, yay, she has a servant now. Kind of. And then, like, I really like her brother, the guy with the glasses and stuff. It's like,
Hmm.
he's a mature adult. And she's, and it's actually like, they're actually treating it like a brother-sister sort of relationship. Like an actual one, not like the usual dumb incest stuff anime tends to do.
Funny enough, you saw fans at the RIs. What's gonna wind up happening.
Oh, God.
Probably because they've watched enough anime just to be deluded or jaded enough to think that.
Probably. That, it doesn't seem like it would go that way, honestly.
Mm.
But, let's see. Subaru, I don't think they've really shown enough of her to really affect my opinion. They won red hair chick. I think she's all right, but I'm not as big on her as the other characters. Umaru-chan herself, I really like, simply because of how fun she is. It's like, she's usually the most graceful person and most beautiful person out that's there. And then when she gets home, she turns into a chibi character, and it's like, nope.
Yeah, nope. Screw your conventions. I am the laziest piece of shit you know, and
She,
we love her for it.
she is the piece of shit we all
Aspire to be.
aspire to
It's
be.
yeah, exactly. There you go.
It's like,
And it's funny they already have her her little like
yeah,
poncho thing on sale.
they have a small pillow of her chibi form in her poncho all wrapped up with an expression on her face, and then they have that big cat hug pillow as well. It's just like actual hug pillows of that big cat thing.
Yeah.
It's just glorious. But yeah, it's just she's really fun of a character. Any other thoughts on Himouto Umaru-chan?
No, not particularly.
Alright, I guess if we have nothing else to talk about Umaru-chan, we'll move on to Gangsta. So, yeah, Gangsta. Yeah, how about that town name?
Or Gestatum or whatever. I still
I
this is supposed to be like a modern city and it's named this. I can't. It's just still like the weirdest thing to me.
Yeah.
Like I'm still with the show itself, like I like it, but I'm still in this sort of
Yeah.
place where it's like I sort of want something more to happen
Yeah.
at this point. Like last episode was good, especially with the
Yeah.
fight
Yeah, and
and
I
all
do
that.
like
But
how they're actually building up the world in this show finally. It's like right off the first couple of episodes, just this is a really dark show, but that's basically all they were going through for. They didn't really build up anything or anything like that. But right now they're sort of building it up with like the whole Twilight stuff and the whole drugs that the children of the Twilight drug users or whatever sort of have certain aspects about them that are really more powerful than the normal person, but then they have sort of other deficits, like the one guy doesn't have can't hear, and the other guy is kind of smarmy, but he has like photographic memory, stuff like that. But my big problem with the series so far is it takes itself just a bit too seriously. Like, it's almost always continuously like, hey, this is dark. Hey, look at this. Like, occasionally there'll be some comedic moments, but it's like, it's almost got this continuous stream of, hey, this is trying to be as serious as possible. Which, I'm, like, before I was comparing it to Black Lagoon and Jormungand, which are both, they're both, heavy action movies sort of with their serious moments, but they know when to switch out to more comedic moments as well, which I'm not sure if it's really a justifiable comparison or not, but it just sort of bothers me sometimes. I mean, I'm still enjoying the show, of course, but I don't know. It just sort of bothers me a bit. How about you
It's
guys?
to me, like I said, like I told you before, I still think there's this sort of style over substance approach
Mm-hmm.
that's there. And like, while it's getting, I do agree that it is. I do agree with you that it's getting, it's building up the world, and there's more stuff that's like happening and everything. Like I remember first episode, the dialogue, especially. I think the dialogue's also gotten better. Remember the first episode seemed sort of like it seemed like the first chapter, like reflected of it being like the first chapter or something. But it's to me, it's gotten better as it's gone along.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still unsure where to place it.
How about you, Justin?
Um, I agree with the style over substance thing he pointed out. It looks beautiful, but there's not a whole lot under the surface
Yeah.
right now. Like I like the action that we've seen so far. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Um, and I agreed with your initial comparison to Black Lagoon. I was like, yeah, that is kind of what it's like, but this one doesn't seem to be going anywhere right now.
Yeah.
Like I've only seen the first two episodes. Again, I'm a little behind. Um, and of course, it's hard to tell where it's going from that. But it's
Yeah.
like, is it centralized, or are we going to get really bigger? It's hard for me to say.
Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, at the end of one of the episodes, I think what's her face sort of disappeared or something, but I'm not sure where they're going to be going with that. Like I don't really like they sort of show some characters that are probably going to be more important later, but for right now, it's kind of really hard to figure out where we'll go with this. Like it hasn't really established much of, hey, there's something big going to happen, or if it's just going to be like a arc based where each arc is a different thing with it, kind of like Black Lagoon, but or if it's just going to be a bit more episodic. It really hasn't established anything in that department for me yet. But
Sure.
But yeah, it's so far like I mean I do really like the background music, like especially how they use it it's sort of in there for a long while without being cut out. So even when the characters are talking, you hear this pleasant background music going on while you're watching everything. And I think it really does add a lot to the atmosphere, but outside of that, I'm not quite sure where it fits to me. Like I like it for sure. Like it's definitely does sort of scratch that action movie style itch I get every now and then that only shows like either Black Lagoon, Jormungand can scratch. But other than that, I'm not quite sure how it'll turn out in the end. But anything else about Gangsta?
I got nothing.
Nope.
All right. Next up is Overlord. So, Overlord. So far, the last couple of episodes, I think it's really been getting a lot more interesting how they've established the world and the characters and stuff. I mean, it's still got that. I still occasionally laugh at it just because of the way how they handle like the main character. He's like the skeleton. He's basically Skeletor, and it's like Skeletor in an anime main character sort of feel to him. But they have actually been establishing some interesting stuff about the world and stuff, like showing. Basically, it's this whole concept of the series seems to be like he's a really high-level character, like at the end of the life of a popular MMO. So you'd have to imagine there's been a lot of expansions and a lot of level caps, and he's basically like facing, I don't know, like low-level characters, and it's just that deficit of power level is just interesting to watch, because if you're in an MMO, that's exactly what you'd get if you face a low-level creature that might have given you problems like when you were around that level, but when you're high level, you can easily kill it in like 2 shots.
Yeah. A big thing I really like about it actually is the fact that they recognize him as their creator kind of thing that carries
Yeah.
over. But he's the only playable character that we've seen so far. Everybody
Yeah.
else is an NPC. And they kind of put the other players thing to the wayside. But he's obviously interested in finding other players. That's why he's doing all of this big showy, this big flashy stuff
Yeah.
like remember my name, and he switched his name to his guild's name so people will recognize it easier.
Yeah.
But it focuses on him in particular instead of him like finding other players. Like I guess like kind of like how Log Horizon was like, you have to bind together and we'll get through this kind of thing to it.
Yeah.
Where Overlord is, yeah, I need to meet other people, but I care more about what I'm doing right here and now, which I really like about it.
Yeah, it's definitely centered on the main character now. I mean, there's a lot of fun side characters like Elbedo with her craziness and all the other side characters that they still have to get around to as well, like all the other dungeon generals and stuff.
Yeah, the Guardians.
Yeah, the Guardians. But yeah, it's like just that interaction between him and the NPCs, and one of the things I actually liked from the last couple of episodes is how he sort of sees his reactions to everything. Like, he's kind of like he's actually recognizing that, hey, I'd normally faint at seeing these people die, but right now in the game where I'm this skeleton dude, I feel basically nothing but against it. And he's like sort of questioning that, but at the same time recognizing it and sort of just going with it.
Yeah, it's like this is a little weird, but it doesn't seem it's like an overriding like kind of like you forget who you are thing. It's like I'm different now and I know this because I'm a skeleton, basically, right?
Yeah, basically.
He recognizes the difference, but it's not like taking over him kind of thing.
Yeah. Basically, it's like all of his emotions are completely suppressed, but he recognizes that and it's just, okay then. He just goes with it.
Yeah.
Which is interesting from like a, hey, I've gotten stuck in a game sort of thing, vibe to it. Like, instead of overreacting, he's like really calm, and like the first reaction he has is try to contact the game master or whatever.
Yeah. It's like something here is wrong. I need help. And I guess it's another theme I'm liking is with other trapped in an MMO. I guess we'll go with that kind of genre. It turns into a lot of like keeping your humanity kind of thing, right? Like people are like, we're trapped in the game, but it's like, but I'm still a real person, and these are people I'm interacting with. He's basically like, well, I'm undead now, and I will kill people if I have to. Like he doesn't care. Which is really nice. I like his inner dialogue, and then the way he speaks are completely different. Like the way he's thinking is like, this is weird. And he's like, I'm this big badass overlord. You better do what I say. It's like, okay.
Yeah, it's just like he sounds like a normal person who's kind of overreacting at some point in his head, but when he actually speaks, it's like very kind of serious and monotonous, kind of. It's just
and authoritative, like
It's like his actions and his interactions seem very different, but they sort of lead to the same thing.
Yeah.
But that's what I really liked about the series, and the general thing of I can sort of laugh at it at times because of how absurd some of the stuff are in it. Just the general fact that the main character is like this evil skeleton overlord. It's just can be kind of absurd in its own enjoyable way.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything else about Overlord?
Nope.
Okay, I guess moving on. My Love Story. And woo, they finally got to the kiss.
And like I said, it's actually a play. It actually goes where some series never go in the first place.
Yeah, it's like I was mentioning before, My Love Story kind of spoils me with romances, because every time I watch a different romance, I just really want it to do something similar to My Love Story, but it never does. It's always the usual, like, hey, this is them just starting out and them trying to find themselves in a relationship kind of stuff. But with My Love Story, it's like all that happened in the first 3 episodes. And like everything else is just basically just expansion upon their relationship and just, hey, look at how awesome of a couple these two are. But
Yeah.
but like the last episodes, like, or the last couple of episodes, I suppose, like, hey, they had that side story with the other 2 side characters with their relationship. It's like, and then it leads into the thing with the kissing. It's like, hey, those people kissed on the first date, and it's like Takio and was it Yamoto?
I can't.
Yamato.
Yeah. No, Yamato or whatever. Yamato or something like that.
Yeah, I got her and Yamato from Wagnaria confused for some reason, which is weird. But yeah, it's like, hey, they're all thinking about it at the start, and it's just, and then what was it? What was friend's character's name again? I completely forgot.
I'm drawing a blank right now too.
But yeah, like him and his sister, like Takio mentions the kiss thing to him, and it's like, hey, I don't really have plans on a kiss until like spring in the 3rd year, and then like Yamata just blurts out that about the kissing, and it's like him and his sister just sort of had that blank expression on their face for a while. It's like, what? And then, of course, another thing I like about this series is, like, the best friend character is willing just to say stuff that most characters would just sort of skirt around. Like, he actually mentions that Takio was planning to have a kiss later, but he says it's like, hey, if you want to kiss him now, I'm sure he'd just be as happy with that as well.
Yeah.
And then how they actually showed, like, hey, they actually had their first kiss, but he thought it was, like, bug landing.
He just saw there, just a bug.
And then when, damn it, I wish I could remember his name. The friend character, it's like...
Suna. There you go,
Suna. When Suna's like, hey, that's probably not a bug, that was probably a kiss. And then the expression on Takio is like, gee, and then his expression is just, and then he just runs out to Yamata's house, and it's like, let's do this over, and it's just, they finally have their first kiss.
It's funny, like, it actually does a kiss before, and then it does it again, just tried to find home.
Yeah.
And it pretty much has, like, twice as much at that point in the series, and there's still, that was episode 18?
I think so, yeah.
And it's a 24-episode series, right?
Yeah.
There's still a couple episodes left. And, yeah, they did that pretty much with, like, all that time left. So it's like, yeah, we did this. Or at least the writer did it, whoever the mangaka is. But, yeah. And then, contrast that to something like Nisekoi, where they haven't, like, to the point that I got to, it's like, there's, like, nothing.
Yeah, the contrast there is just amazing. Especially when they had that crossover manga.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just really... yeah, My Love Story's just really been spoiling me. It's just, every time I watch a different romance series, it's like, why can't you be like this? But yeah, have you been keeping up with it, Justin?
I have never watched it. I basically vicariously enjoy it through you.
I for some reason thought you were keeping up with it for some reason. Maybe I'm thinking of something.
Sorry.
Maybe I'm thinking of someone else. But anyways, I guess then, anything else about My Love Story?
Nothing I can think of.
Alright, I guess moving on, Wagnaria / Working, Season 3. So, yeah, so far, they've really been, resolving a lot of interesting stuff so far. Or, yeah, like, the whole relationship with Sato and, was it Takidora, or what was her name?
I can't remember.
But yeah, him and her and Sota and Todori. Hold on. Damn it, that's not what I was looking for. But yeah, their whole relationship, they're actually developing their relationship, and it's like, yeah, it's actually showing how that's going. It's not really, skirting around it or trying to trying to make the stuff more. It's not trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of extend it to like another season or something like that. It's actually resolving a lot of stuff this season. And actually, they sort of, in the latest episode, they sort of finally got around for Yamada and the other Yamada. So they sort of finally have those two actually seeing each other, and it's like, I think next episode is probably going to be actually resolving of. I think the name of the next episode is like Yamada, Goodbye Yamada, or something like that. So it'll be interesting to see how they resolve that storyline as well. But
To assuage any fears, like I said, I've read the manga, then that what I read has covered that part. I'm pretty sure Yamada sticks around either way.
Well, of course she's Yamada. She's the annoying little chick, the annoying little girl you can never get rid of.
I will say that, like I said, the part that covers Takanashi and Inami's relationship,
Yeah.
I don't think that was covered. I remember telling you that when I read the manga online, the scan laters, for some reason, just skipped over like a bunch of shit. So I didn't really get to see that part. And I will say that sort of presents like one of the more annoying aspects I've always thought that working had is that it just sometimes, like, even though it has resolved a few things, it will skirt like badly across the relationship, specifically Takanashi and Inami.
Yeah.
Because fucking Takanashi especially is like some pseudo pedophile essentially. And the one episode is like, it's like I've experienced this show, I've experienced it in the manga, and yet this shit still irritates me.
Yeah. Actually, as far as the pseudo pedophile thing, one joke I found funny in the latest episode is like Sota's sister basically takes over a shift because Papara has like a toothache or something, and she has to stay out or something. But basically, she makes a comment like, "You totally like, don't you find Yamada cute? I mean, she's small and stuff, and it's like, she is not remotely cute." Yeah, but yeah, it's like I sort of knew something about Yachio and Jun Sato, the one cook. Like, I sort of knew something about their relationship because I sort of read something along the lines that in like the Servant X service, there was like a audio drama that did a crossover with Wagnaria. Apparently, at some point in that, Yachio and Sato come in and they're like basically trying to get a marriage certificate. So I'm not sure if that was just like a fan service thing or if if that's an actual part of the.
I have no idea because I haven't really read the manga since I finished it, and both I'm not sure whether working has wrapped up or not, but both did finish.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be surprising if the author decided to write something like that for the fans.
Yeah.
That's the first I heard about it.
Yeah, I just know about it that's in the Servant X service audio drama, which would be cool if they had like a Servant X service crossover with Wagnaria sort of OVA or something.
Yeah.
Like after Wagnaria finishes up, they did that and just had a cute little crossover OVA. But yeah, not sure what else to talk about Wagnaria from the last couple of episodes. Like it's been its usual cuteness. Oh yeah, another thing from the last episode is they had this little weird side thing with Papara where it's like when she had a headache and fever and stuff, so she was laying in bed and she had this like weird dream where basically
Is it where she becomes tall?
it's not tall, but it's basically, well, sort of tall. Everyone else becomes short. And so
I think I saw you post something about that part.
it's like Soda, or not Soda, Sato. Sato is basically like he's basically like that sort of mascot thing for shonen or Maho Shoujo sort of manga where there's always that one small mascot animal thing, where he was basically that, but instead of an animal, he was just really short. And Soda was basically the evil villain creature that's turning everyone into small because he's Soda, and that's totally what he'd do. But and then she's got this. Instead of like a magical scepter, she's got a stick. Like it's just a stick with a leaf on it and stuff. And it's just got this really weak beam that she throws at him, and then Sato just doesn't mention until later that every time she uses it, she becomes smaller. So it quickly turns into a nightmare for her, which I thought was pretty cute. But yeah, overall, it's just continuing its usual thing of just being a really, really cute and fun little series. But yeah, I can't really think of about anything else to say about it. Can you?
I got nothing.
Alright, I guess moving on, the last show for our simulcasts is Rin-ne. So, yeah, Rin-ne.
It, for a couple episodes, really got uninteresting there.
Yeah.
Because, it's the thing is, you can have a romance focus, I mean, so long as it's interesting, it's okay. And that's the thing, and it really brought nothing to the table because there was always a misunderstanding between the two characters. And that I'm glad to see it has, especially with after the last episode, has taken a back seat, it seems, for now. But,
I mean, the one thing I always like about the series is just how much the main female character's reactions are so dry.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everything is like, okay. And she just rolls with the shit, and it's like, she doesn't think too much about stuff, and it's like, that's kind of weird sometimes. Or that's her general thoughts. Like, sometimes she'll see something and that's unusual, and then she just goes with it. But yeah, it's just, so far it's kind of been a bit uninteresting, some of the stuff they've been doing the last couple of episodes. But yeah, I'm still keeping up with it because, hey, I'm in 18 episodes, so it's not bad, it's just sort of losing some steam, but it's still enjoyable at parts.
I think it was around episode 15 where I was like, I hope this starts getting interesting again. And then it had it's since there was I don't really know how many episodes it was. I just know there was at least 2 or 3 episodes where it focused on the romance subplot too much for my liking, and it's like, if this continues for the rest of the show, I'm not sure I could take it. And thankfully for now, it seems like it might be on the back burner with the Arnard. And Jesus Christ, Rin-ne's father is a scumbag.
Oh God, Rin-ne's
father
I
sincerely
father of the year.
I sincerely hope he gets his comeuppance.
It's like, yeah, he's totally trying to steal money from you. It's like, he's a terrible, terrible father.
Just, pretty much.
He's like the male equivalent of Raggio.
And I was going to say, I found it really amusing that Kine, that's how they pronounce it in the show.
Yeah.
Kine, whatever it is. He made it make it seem like he's some legitimate threat. You would assume he'd be carrying the Rin-ne's soul and the what was it? There's something else he had.
Or what was it?
You would assume he'd just have it with him the entire time. He just left it at home
with his mom.
Yeah, pretty much. And his mom's entirely too trusting. She's still paying Rin-ne's father. So just pretty much broke to hell. And like I said, that's exactly why I hope his father gets his. Because it's sort of getting to a point where it's not funny. It's like, okay, it's like, fuck this
Yes,
asshole, he's a scumbag.
pretty much. It's like, yeah, I really want to punch him in the face. Because he's kind of a huge-ass dick. And he keeps on doing dickish stuff. So, yeah. And, it's just, yeah. But, I can't really
That's
think...
saying this episode, sorry to interrupt you, but
go ahead.
that's what I like so much about the last episode. They actually introduced conflict, whereas like, while there's every episode has done that. The big problem is that like the romance subplot has just sort of taken precedence over it most of the time.
Yeah.
Whereas like whatever was the central conflict in the episode sort of seemed to take a back seat eventually. At least that's my opinion on it. But like I said, that's why I like this episode as much as I did, because it's finally sort of like getting back on track.
Mm-hmm. But anything else about Rin-ne?
Nah, nothing I can think of.
Alright, well, that was the last simulcast on my list, unless you guys want to talk about Monster Musume.
There's really not much to talk about.
Yeah, there's not a
it's
whole lot there.
It's like we said before the show. It's like you're not here for anything serious. We know that you're just here either to have fun or because you're a pervert. So,
Yeah.
like I said, it's been surprising. It's actually been a surprisingly fun show. I would say that, the last episode was a little quiet, but that's also because they were introducing another character. But that's the thing. It's more so intended just to be shut off your mind, just enjoy it.
Yeah.
That's where I'd put it.
Yeah. Well, if we got nothing else to talk about, that will wrap up the first part of our show, which was our simulcasts. And since we got 2 parts, I will do 2 endings. So, if you just enjoyed this part of the show, you can continue on to the next episode, or you can follow us on Twitter, as all of our usernames will be in the description of the podcast and in the credits. If you would, we are also on my anime list, or at least Alex and me are. I'm not sure about Justin. And I am on Ask.fm, though I hardly ever use it, under the same usernames. And, well, if you don't wish to continue, then until next time, later.
Peace.